Some consider Meunier as a lesser grape of Champagne.
That's racism. That's racism.
But it has a bad rap in the...
You will have to cut this. I have to take a bottle of Les Bars because like that you will try. I'm coming back. We have it.
It is so beautiful.
Don't say it, you didn't try it. Maybe it's bad. Which one you like, you want me to place? Well, you don't drink, so we don't care.
No, I drink.
No, you don't. So, Meunier.
I also want to talk about the disgorgement process, which can be stressful for the wine.
For the grower first.
For the grower.
For me, the vineyard is maybe 90% of the work. It's the biggest work to respect, to plow, to not to pollute, to have the good ripeness. That's a huge work. But then after, it's just vinification.
Hi everybody, this is Agnes from No Sediment and welcome to No Sediment Wine Podcast. My guest today is Alexandre Chartogne from Chartogne-Taillet. You are winemaker and you are owner. Yes. You do everything.
Everything, it's maybe exaggerated, but yeah, I try to do. Like a grower, every grower in the world makes from the beginning to the end. So yes, I'm just a grower.
Just a grower, I think, okay, yeah. Well, but maybe you can tell us a little bit about where we are. We are in a very specific village, and about yourself and how your journey started with the world of wine and champagne.
So, so you are now in my family house. So it's funny because you will not see from the video the architecture, but every house in the village normally remained to one family. And here, because we are here since the 15th century, since 500 years, the members of the family married the neighbors sometimes because, people didn't went far away. And so we have the three houses that turned a little bigger house, which is not big, and you are here in the place where the people used to place the food for the horses, which is now turned into a tasting room. Mm-hmm. But voilà.
Okay. But so we are in a very small village, which is Meunier. Did I pronounce it correctly?
Very well.
Okay. So, and if I'm not mistaken, you are the only grower here?
Yes. Sorry, I used to say it. Now there is another one who is vinifying in Chamery, Parmentier. But yes, we've been the only ones, just because you have to understand that this very specific place, which is north of France, were unfortunately bombed during the war, also invaded. So we have lost the viticulture part during approximately 70 years. And we really began to make wine again during the 50s, 1950s. That's why our village is not mentioned in the Grand Cru or nice places, but in the history, we were premier vin, so poured at the king's table, but also exported, meaning that some of the plot of the village were doing some of the best wine of the region. And that's what I try to make now, or to remake or re-understand on vinification, work in the vineyard, etc.
Well, I will say this, that you are doing very well. As I told you off camera, I really like your champagnes. But just kind of to show the introduction to also the viewers, I know that you have been working with Anselme Selosse. Was it something that you purposefully went to? Like it was something that you had your aim to? Or was it just life happened and you just happened to be there and...
That's a funny story. My mom was a huge wine lover. Every wine in the world, etc., passionate. And kind of feminist woman, enjoying wine. And she only admired few people in the region. Anselme Selosse, Bernier, and Aigliorier. And those three were doing really the big work at this period. Well, still now. And so I've been always, when I was a child, I saw their wines, not known in this period. Those people who are kind of critic in the whole region, but my mom really liked it. So we were trying to drink it. She was saying it's a very good grower, etc. And I trained in management school, nothing to do with viticulture. I didn't want it to be a grower. I wanted to do something else because it was in the spirit very hard, and for many reasons, it wasn't the dream work at all for a child. But after a few years in big companies, etc., and also passion with wine, I asked myself, why not? And the first person I could contact for my training, for my internship, for my knowledge was Anselme Selosse. Always did things with passion, with heart, with fantastic wines. This person, this monsieur is just a genius. You can't imagine how good he is on his way to think, on his way to work, but also a very good person in the way that he's not doing any critique to anybody. He's helping. He have everything to show. So luckily I met him, and it really gave me this curiosity, passion with wine.
And did you bring some of his knowledge back to your winery?
Anselme have no knowledge to give. He just says something, and it's frustrating, but also it enriched you a lot. When you come with a question to get more knowledge, he gives you another question, and then he develops 10 questions, and then you think, and if you are curious, if you need to know, then you read, you check, etc. So, because it's very important to understand that it's not Anselme Selosse he's just one person who understood that he have one plot, two plots, and he adapts his work, his personality to the place. First, it's the place. So what to teach to someone who have different places? Nothing, except maybe you watch, you read, you check, you feel, etc. So what he gave me is really this curiosity to understand my places. So for sure, many things, everything I know are now that I'm older, maybe not 100%, but 90% of my questions, of what I have, what I know, what I experiment, was also in contact with him and influenced by him. But he didn't give me answers for the wines of Murphy because he don't have wines and vineyards in Murphy.
I really like what you said. Yeah, like he, with more questions, he kind of invited you to answer your own questions. I don't know, but it just kind of, yeah.
Yeah, it's the difference between le savant et le sage. So savant is the guy who, the knowledgeable guy, or the savant is the wise guy. He is wise. So he have a knowledge, but then you have, after this knowledge, something more. When you are wise, you know things, but you don't think that you know for the whole world, for everybody. No, you just say that, everybody have to feel it. And if you succeed to feel it, then you adapt yourself to the place, to everything. Maybe I can tell you something. If I have to tell about science or knowledge, he gave me the contact to Claude and Lydia Bourguignon. Those two people are soil analysts, and they have a knowledge. Because about population in the soil, about understanding of the root system, understanding of the nature, they have this very scientist way, which is attached to a life in the soil of the nature, which were very important to me. So yes, he gave me contact with them, and now they come every year to check the soil, the subsoil. And this laboratoire, so it's a laboratoire now, they are just a family thing. It's Claude Lindia and Emmanuel, their son. They dig holes, or we dig holes, and they go inside and they check the microorganism, the life inside every step, the mineral part, the calcaire, the water, the iron, everything that makes you understand that every step you do during the year is influencing your vineyard in a good way or bad way. So it's interesting for me first to understand, for example, this wine comes from this plot, so that's this soil, but also, Alex, you did errors, because we can compare to 1, 2, 3 years before. The first analysis was showing a lot of life. This year is not so good, or on the contrary, you did well, it's full of life, etc., to give a good wine.
Yeah, I actually like that more and more winemakers are interested in what is happening in their vineyards, in their soil, and looking for more life in it.
It's the only thing. If you check one of my labels, you will understand that there is not my name is not mentioned on my labels, because the quality of a wine is first attached to the very specific plot that stays outside. When we are now speaking together, outside there are those plants who are taking the rain, the snow, the wind, the sun, etc. And if the wine have this taste, it's because the roots of the vineyard takes the very specific salt from the subsoil of the very specific place. So the grower is not responsible of the quality. For sure, you have some basics to follow. Sulfur to use to protect against oxidation, that it's not turning into vinegar. That we keep the right tools, that it's not too reductive, that it's not too oxidative, that we adapt the vinification to every plot. But finally, we are not responsible of the taste. That's why on my label is the name of the plot. If people likes it, they don't have to reward me. I just maybe didn't make mistakes. But it's just the plots. The plot took the salt, give it to the grapes. I pressed, ferment. I'm not the guy who ferments. It's wild yeast. So, yeah, I maybe chose to place it in a barrel, in what kind of barrel, or in a vat. Fine, it's barrel now. So, and that's my choices. But it's just sensibility to adapt. But no. My work is just to be lazy.
But I want to talk more about it, because if we look on Champagne in globally as a part of the wine world, Champagne is really a made wine. Like you cannot make I don't know, some simple wine. You just put the grapes in the basket. Some of those of the bottom just break and the wine starts. It's just naturally. Champagne is not that. Champagne is made wine. So how do you make sure that you preserve your soils, preserve your terroir in your Champagne with all those processes? You said you use barrels,
That's the thing. First, you have to value how much our work is. What's the part of vineyard? What's the part of vinification? How much does it represent in the grower life? When you are just responsible of vinification, yes, you can say it's a big work, etc. But we are also facing the vineyard. So for me, the vineyard is maybe 90% of the work. It's the biggest work, to respect, to plow, to not to pollute, to have the good ripeness. That's a huge work. But then after, it's just vinification. When you face 1 year viticulture with, the nature, the nature in Latvia, it's something which is very wild. So we also have a kind of wild nature here. So when you face those elements every day, every year, then you know what affects you. And it's not vinification. It's not the wine process. But then, okay, until the bottling, what's the difference between a still wine producer and a champagne producer? None. We press. Okay, we have specific press. We make separations, etc. But then the élevage is kind of the same. We are all trying to adapt the quantity of oxygen that enters inside the wine to reduce the organic, to reduce the fruitiness, to age the wine, to get the minerals, etc. It's everything about to accompany the wine in the process of vinification, of aging. So we do the same work. Our biggest difference maybe is at the moment you bottle. When you bottle, yes, you decide what you do. And we have fantastic big brands, négociants, who tend to produce a wine which have their own identity. They want to be bodied, round, structured wine, so they will choose some places, they will choose the blending, they will choose the vinification, they make it, and they place their name on it because they are proud to show that they like that kind of wine, and they blend origin to make this wine like this, and it's their wines. For a grower, for me, it's different. I have the nature, I have the plot, and then I try to adapt the second fermentation into, let's say, the best nature origin in wine. I really try to make the best in the vineyards, to take it very ripe, then to age it in the best place, and then I want the people to discover what the nature gave me. But then the second fermentation is coming, and that's interesting, is to make a second fermentation which is not covering the taste, which is very slightly smoothly integrated into the taste of the nature. So, voilà. So it's a different place, but I will not use other plots together. I will not use other years. I really enjoy to drink. This wine is Chemin de Reims from 1 year. And then my work is just really to make all the work during the year, then to bottle it, to respect the origin. So I don't think there is more work than in still wine, but the decisions are fine.
I want to ask you about one specific wine of yours, which is I really enjoyed it. And but the idea is that some consider Meunier. Is it Pinot Meunier?
Yeah.
Or because someone told me that there is no relationship to Pinot Noir, so it's just Meunier. So I keep saying Meunier.
There are more relation between Chardonnay and Meunier than Pinot Noir.
Okay. So some consider Meunier as a lesser grape of Champagne, and yet one of your top cuvées is 100% Meunier.
Yeah.
So why do you think it has a bad reputation? First, and why do you chose to make it?
It's that's racism. That's racism. We just enjoy brown or black grape or red hair or tall or short. No, it's not. That's not fair.
But it has a bad rep in the, or it's gone.
You will have to cut this. I have to take a bottle of Les Bars because like that you will try. I'm coming back, dear. I'm not serious, you see. I drank just a glass and then... We have it. So...
it is so beautiful.
But don't say it, you didn't try it. Maybe it's bad. So, alors, which one you like? You want me to place? Well, you don't drink, so we don't care.
No, I drink.
No, you don't. Do you? Yeah, please place it here and you will try. Up. First. That's yours, huh? Then the third bottle arrived. Magic tea. So, Meunier. Meunier, I always feel that grape varieties are exactly like a language. When you travel to Italy, or when you travel to Latvia, or when you travel to France, to understand the very specific culture, traditions, differences between the different origins, it's always better to speak the language. Because you have very specific words that doesn't exist in the other cultures that explain you what's really happening in your country, in this country, etc. If you go to Italy, they have so many, they are singing and then they are using words that we don't have in France. The same in France, the same in Latvia, the same in... So, the language is like a grape variety. It's just the translator of the culture. If you have a soil which is very mineral, which is very strong in terms of personality, of unique atmosphere, you don't need to get a grape variety which is kind of fancy. You have a very low profile grape variety which doesn't show something to the wine, and the terroir, the minerals from the terroir is already, it's there, and then you discover it as a wine lover. If you take Chablis, or the south of Champagne, the Chimérigian soil are very strict in minerals. And you don't need any Meunier which gives the fruitiness to those terroirs because, you taste just mineral. In other places, so the Meunier is here to show more. You have, it gives you something. Do I like it? No. No, I don't like it. I don't like Meunier because it shows something which is not attached to the soil. It's a grape variety which gives you a taste. And this fruitiness, it's not something which is good. If you are a wine lover, if you are a deep wine lover, you don't need fruity wine. The fruity wine are for party, No. You need to find the real subsoil taste, the soil taste, the place. So grape variety is just something which is the funky part which will disappear with years. So for me, the Meunier can be interested if the Meunier is gone. If the taste of Meunier is out. And in wine you have two things. You have the organic, so the grape variety, the sugar, everything which is coming from the outside, the atmosphere, and the type of plant you are using. And you have the mineral which is coming from the subsoil. And what's interesting, if you judge those two things, the organic, the fruit, and the mineral, like the glass, if you have a glass, you place it outside, it will never disappear. It's death. It's really the last step of the evolution of life in the nature. It will never disappear. You break a glass, you send it to the ground, it will always stay. The organic, the fruits, is something which is showing a lot at the beginning, and then with time, the oxygen is like the skin of a guy. Is going down, and then it's falling, and it shows signs of age. I don't have any. I don't.
You don't.
Yes, I have. But it makes you older, and then the Meunier, the Pinot Noir, every grape variety disappears with age. So what's interesting in a Meunier is that it can give you a little body, but I'm really not interested in the fruitiness. And what I do with my Meunier is that I place a lot of oxygen during the aging. Always. I place it in the barrel. I don't top it up. I make it, then the flora appears.
Floor.
Yeah, flora, yeah. And then I choose really to concentrate the taste. If you have 228 liters in your barrel, with time 200, what happens? What are you losing? So you check that you are not losing alcohol, that you are losing water. So if you lose water, you concentrate, because the taste, it's really something which is more concentrated. And also you lose the organic parts, so you lose the fruitiness to get what? To get the salts and the minerals. So it's very challenging, because I try to do Meunier, which doesn't taste Meunier. Les Bars is a Meunier grape variety, which is aged in contact with oxygen, but which tries to lose the Meunier side. That the expression of the language is lowered, and that I can understand the culture of the place. And if people knows this wine, maybe it's also my first wine, but in terms of years, but also because I really, it's very challenging. Sometimes I have 10 barrels of Les Bars, and I bottle 1 barrel or 2 barrels together, because just 2 of them, aged well, lost their grape variety taste, are not also oxidized. And then you get this perfect balance between a texture of the grape variety and a saltiness from the subsoil. I don't know if it's clear. It's very hard to explain. Normally I do drawing, but I can't hear for...
No, it was really interesting. I didn't know also about that aging that you said.
Wine is always about this. It's, if you judge a wine, if it's a young wine, what are you tasting? Young wine, it's about fruit. You have fruit when you are a wine grower. You discover after the fermentation that you have this fruitiness. And then with time, the fruit is lowered. And what appears? It's the minerals. So if you make it well, in a humid atmosphere, in cellars, in not, in these air conditioning places, or stainless steel are also different. It's different. But if you are a grower who is using barrels, the only thing is just to check that your age is losing the grape variety, and then that you get the very unique taste of the terroir, which are the minerals. And when this balance between organic, the fruitiness, and mineral is perfect, then you bottle it. You stabilize the wine, and then you bottle. Stabilize, you place it in the bottle, it's enough, but then you have something interesting for the future. I think. That's just the way I do.
Just out of curiosity, I know it's like a maybe rather simple and boring question, but do you allow your wines to go through mallow? Mm-hmm. So it's part of the stabilization, yes, for you?
It's I don't choose for the wine the orientation. The most important thing is that the wine ages, and then I will not block them. I place them sometimes in more strict atmosphere if I know they are crazy. Some places are crazy. You have, a sort of, fun part, a lot of grape variety, a lot of fruit. So then those wines need to be in more humid atmosphere. But in my house, in my place, it's naturally made, because it's interesting actually. If you judge different champagne houses, if you judge different champagne growers, you will feel that the place, the village, is different. And then the cellars are different too. I always have this comparison with Raphaël Beresch, Grand Lui. His domain is not in a forest, but up the hill, close to the forest, very humid, very cold place, compared to mine, which is south-faced, warmer, and then you can feel that here it's more open, it's not so strict compared to his. When you enter in his place, it's very set, very straight. So the wines at his place have difficulties to do the malo because it's it's closed. It keeps the wine very thin, elegant. For me, it's opening. It's more bodied. It's more. So we have different wines first because we have different terroir. But if we have the same wine from the same place, you will see that my wine will be more open, maybe more bodied. He will have something straight, thin. So it's because the aging place is different. If you place the same child in in a jail and on the beach, there are chances that they are not getting the same experience and they are expressing something different. They will be the same inside, but this year aging in different places will make them different. So at home, I let the wine have the malo because it's how it goes. I'm not blocking it because to block it, you need very cold atmosphere, you need sulfur, or you need filtration. I don't want that for my wine because the texture comes from the wine. If I filter my wine, then there is no difference between different plots. If I place sulfur, too much, or a lot, I will feel sulfur. I will feel unhappy for the wine. So I think, yes, the way my village is made, the way my cellar is made, it's positive for the malolactic. And yeah, so it makes the malo when it needs or wants to be done. I'm not choosing for the wine.
Okay. Another question, which I was thinking about, is that traditionally we were taught that the longer you age wine on the lees, the better. And then some winemakers or brands even would come this is, aged forever. So the quality is higher. But now, at least what I've seen is that there are some winemakers who actually release their wines really early after minimum aging on the lees. I think Cédric Bouchard comes to my mind as one of those. And I was just wondering, do you see that trend as well? What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah.
How long do you age your wines on the lees?
It's a very hard question because it's really attached to the way you think for your wines, how you make it. And it's a big deal for a grower. What to do? Do you choose to produce a wine for aging forever? You choose a wine to be balanced and that you can release very early, that have the possibility, the abilities to age. And it's really something hard. But I think that if you are in the right place, your wine will have the ability to age. And then you make it well, and then the wine will age very well. There are a few basics. Sulfur, a little bit, or sugar. You need protection for your wine because naturally it will turn into vinegar. The brand knows very well that to age a wine, they have to make a wine to age. So they prepare it with sulfur, with not too much, but a fair amount, and then also with a dosage, with an amount of sugar, which will help the wine to age. If you try wines from my grandparents here, luckily they placed more than 10 grams, and now the wines are very good. If I try the same wine without the sugar, the wines sometimes are dead. We have to understand as a grower how to make the wine able to be appreciated young, but also aged. And Cédric Bouchard, I think, is a fantastic example that he ages the wine very slowly, and then he gets something very good, and then the wines are young and old, very nice. So yeah, maybe ask him. You will see him. We began, I don't know if we began in the same time, but yeah, I'm happy with the aging of my wine. I will check in the future.
How do you long age on the lees? What is the average for you?
What you drink is 19, so it's 4 years now. I would say I began in 2006, so it's hard to tell you, and that it's the best way I do to age the wine. But my 2006, 7, 8, they look great. So maybe we can taste it later together and you will see. So I wish that I make the right choices and that the nature and the wines from the nature is able enough to age. But I broke a glass.
No, you didn't. So I also want to talk about the disgorgement process, which can be stressful for the wine.
For the grower first.
For the grower. I wanted to ask you, how do you manage to keep because you were talking about the oxygen management a lot, so how do you manage during that disgorgement process to keep the oxygen kind of in control and the ingress in control?
I think it's interesting. First, when you think about the process of disgorgement and the stress created by this, you have to think that how do we age the wine? If I age it in the barrel, the wine is used to be in contact with oxygen. And oxygen is, yes, it's not an enemy. And it's not so bad. So for me, it's very easy. My wine are aged in barrel in more open atmosphere. When I disgorge it, I make it very nice, very naturally. This very like the ancestor did. We sometimes do it by hand.
Because you just showed.
Yeah, it's a reflex.
Okay.
But yes, we do it sometimes by hand, sometimes with a machine. The machine is quicker, by hand it's slower. But it has no impact because we did so many oxygen contact to our wines that it's not this small step which will kill the wine. If you age the wine in totally closed atmosphere, in stainless steel, that you build the wine facing that, yes, you have those wines which never show oxygen. So you have the gravity, the mineral, everything is set with sulfur, blocked, cold stabilization, filtration. So then what's your objective? You build something and you have to keep this thing which is protected, safe for the next. So yes, the disgorgement is very stressful. For me, my wine always experienced the oxygen, always experienced the contact with the outside. So I'm not stressed when I do a disgorgement. No. This oxygen phase is very quick. It's made very easily. The only thing I will check is the dosage. The dosage,
that would be my next question.
I don't speak about
dosage. Please, yeah.
No. But the dosage is maybe the thing which is important. There were trends. We had this old generation which placed a lot. We place things inside the dosage, and then you get a taste. Then the people told the dosage is influencing the wine, too much sugar, etc. And I think people were right. The champagne, they tend to play with dosage, and then it was bad because you were tasting a wine which were about dosage, not about terroir anymore. But then every human have an idea when it's always black or white. So dosage turned into the biggest enemy of the wine lover, of the wine drinker, of the grower. But no. What I say is that if the man decided to place a dosage, we are French. It's one in our DNA, lazy. We are. So why to do something if we are not obliged to do it? You will never push a French to do something if it's not important. No. So we place the dosage because we are doing a second fermentation. This second fermentation produces some bitterness, some freshness, some acidity, some aggressive atmosphere. So we just rebalance it with a little sugar. And also, luckily, this addition of sugar, of liqueur, is helping the wine to age because the sugar is reductive and then it helps the wine age. The oxygen will eat the organic. The organic in a champagne will be the dosage. So if you don't place dosage, you have to drink your champagne very early. During the year, if it's a great terroir, yes, it can age more. But dosage is made for that. And the hardest is to find the balance between a good wine now and a good wine in the future. So we always need a low dosage, depending on your terroir, on your wine. It's totally different. I will never say there is a right amount, but dosage is fundamental for the aging. Yes.
Thank you for saying that, because I strongly believe that. I really don't like that trend where every single champagne house is making 0 dosage wines. I think that sugar, even if it's just like 2 or 4 grams, it kind of, first of all, it gives like extra layer or balance, and then it just adds complexity as the wine ages. Yeah.
I really believe it. Yesterday and past yesterday, we're doing dosage tasting, dosage trial with many people. I don't make it alone. I take the decision alone, but I make it with many people, and it's interesting to see that the wine isn't changed by us, this small dosage added. Sometimes yes, sometimes no, and we have to find the right balance, and then it's good, it's better. Also, for us, it's easy. You can say as a champagne grower or as a brand, okay, dosage 0, we can drink it. Yes, for sure, the wine is staying in our cellar. When you come with me in the cellar, then you take the bottle who never moved, you open it, and yes, it's safe. But for sure, when you bring this bottle to Riga, to Italy, to the US, to Japan, even if it's well made, even if you make it under temperature control, etc., you have to protect a little bit your wine, and sugar is better than sulfur. So I will choose a low dosage, the right dosage. And with the global warming, we have, it's ugly to say that global warming is a catastrophe, but it's interesting to face that we have a bigger ripeness level and that we need a lower dosage compared to years ago. And you can see from the grower, from the brands, from everybody, we have lower dosage. And yes.
Yeah.
To say, to not to turn too fat also.
Yeah. I have written here the next question, but I think I might already know the answer, but still I will ask. So for me, many grower champagnes can sometimes be too hipster for everyday champagne drinker, like everyday champagne lover, let's say. But your style, I think, is a really kind of unique in a way that it kind of represents the terroir very well, but it is also very approachable and like kind of easy also to understand for like people who do not necessarily study wine, or wine geeks. And how do you manage to keep that balance? That was my question.
Oh, it's because of it's very hard to explain. I don't know, but I am a guy who enjoys wines which are bodied, which are not. I don't like acidity. It's very rare. Acidity for me is under ripeness. So in the vineyard it means that your fruit will not be ripe. When it's not ripe, you don't get the minerals that the fruit could get if you are waiting and taking the risk to reach the ripeness. So I am actually enjoying the balance. And the balance is between something, I know it's hard in English, but comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
A great wine for me is a comfortable wine. It's something that you enjoy, but you don't make that. When you speak about hipster wine, you have something weird, and people think, oh, it's a quality. No, if you have your eyes which closes, it means that there is something weird. So I'm like you, like everybody. I drink wine, and I need to have a pleasure moment. It does, and luckily, the terroir of Champagne, or my terroir, offers enough sugar in the ripeness level and in the body to have something balanced, and for the wine lovers to feel the differences between the saltiness from the sodium of the chalk, or the bitterness from the very specific sandstone of the village, or the clay which produces maybe more acidity, but also this large atmosphere on the cheek. So every terroir in the village offers me something which is kind of pleasant. And so, I don't know. It doesn't answer your question, but yeah, good luck.
I have one last question, which I ask to everyone who I interview. What is the one wine myth you would like to debunk?
Oh, I don't find any, because I never, those one myths, I when I hear them, oh, okay, is it about wine? Is it about viticulture? I don't know.
It can be whatever.
Okay, the terroir is enough. The terroir gives always the best. But the man needs to be here. And the man, it's not because the terroir is enough that the men have to be noisy.
Mm.
And we have 1,000-year comprehension of viticulture and vinification. This is important. And the tradition attached to the place helps us understand how to produce wine and grapes. And even if bad things were made during the 21st century, we have to have this knowledge, this know-how which is attached to values. So the wine myth I would maybe hit, I don't know, because we did already, speaking about the dosage, speaking about the sulfur, speaking about, I will look like an old man who's saying, oh, those hipsters are not good. No, but we have to be nature and men have to be together, but men have to ensure, like if he's a dad of a child, to show the way to his child. It's the same with the nature. When you have wine, you transformed. And I really appreciate this phrase, this sentence, which says that it's an English guy. So I know it in French, it will be hard in English to retranslate it, but he said that the wine is one of the nicest invention or product of man, which is to transform a perishable fruit into something which is stable and permanent. And finally, it's this. The fruit is perfect, it's the pure gold, but without the man taking care, it's nothing. It's vinegar. So I would say, just don't judge the grower, but the grower have to be not too hipster.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I have a small present.
Oh.
So this is the No Sediment logo.
Oh, thank
cap.
you very
I don't know
much.
if you
Oh,
wear
yeah.
them.
But I have to wear it now.
Yeah, in your vineyards when you do the Chardonnay pruning in the March. Yeah, I hope
Thank you
helped.
very much. Thank you
It was
very
a
much.
really, really interesting conversation.
Merci beaucoup. Thank you for coming.
And thank you for sharing all the wines with us. I know they're highly on allocation.
Yeah, but I'm the only one to drink it. You have to drink more.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Merci beaucoup.